Now, for example, there are Taliban. Talibans are local Pashtuns who are resisting the American occupation of Afghanistan. They are one group. Then they have supportive Pashtun groups in Pakistan who are supportive and loyal to the Taliban. They are very small groups in the Pakistani side. Then there's the group of Osama bin Laden. These are Arabs who have come and stayed there, which you call Al-Qaeda normally. But then there is also the group of Jalaluddin Haqqani, and he also have a huge amount of Arabs with him. These Arabs
who are not
associated with Osama bin Laden. So there's a tendency here to brand every Arab as Al-Qaeda. You see, if these Arabs were with Osama bin Laden, why are they in a separate group? See, the simple reason is their motivation levels are different. They disagree with so many of the policies. They come with different agendas.
But they cooperate.
Policies. Sometimes they cooperate, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just ignore each other. Then there are Uzbeks. Uzbeks have come from Central Asia. Most of these groups, which we talked earlier, draw their inspiration from Middle East, from the Muslim movement of the 60s and the 70s of the Ikhwan al-Muslimun and Jama'ah Islamiyah and the groups which have originated from the Muslim world. But the Uzbeks take their inspiration from Hizb ut-Tahrir. Hizb ut-Tahrir is a radical group, which is takfiri, they say in Arabic, which if you don't agree with them, you're not a Muslim. And they are more harsher than the other Taliban and other groups which we have in these areas. And so now when the Uzbeks, all the Pakistani Taliban, you got to keep one thing in mind, Ahmed, that Taliban and the Pakistani Taliban and even the Osama's group and even the Jalaluddin Haqqani's group, they do not want to fight Pakistan as the state. They have differences with the policies of the Pakistan government, but they do not take Pakistani state as an enemy. So they only fought with Pakistan Army when Pakistan Army went into their areas.
Of course, I must mention this, that you're drawing your conclusions and your information based on a long experience. I mean, I think you appeared a couple of weeks back on our show, and you spent a lot of time during the Afghan Jihad in that area. In fact, you spent a lot of time also with Ahmed Shah Massoud, one of the legendary Afghan Mujahideens. Now, okay, back to this thing.
Now, the point is, you see, all the tribal areas, they have their representation in Pakistani armed forces. The Frontier Corps and the Pakistan Army draws its troops from the same tribal areas. So these tribes don't want to fight Pakistan Army. They want to avoid fighting as much as possible. That's why it is suitable to negotiate peace deals with them, agree with them, talk to them, dialogue with them, instead of slaughtering them, because they are our own people. Our own army men would be fighting their own kinsmen. But these Uzbeks who come from outside, you see, they have no relationship in the Pakistan Army. And because of their ideological motivations, they are takfiris. They're more hardliner. They do not, they say, if Pakistan is cooperating with the Americans, they should kill the Pakistanis first.
So they attack
Pakistani soldiers. And that is why the local tribals tried to stop them. And that went into a conflict. You see, so these Uzbeks are neither part of Osama bin Laden's group. They do not cooperate with them. They don't go along with them. Simply, they do not cooperate with Taliban for the simple reason, if Taliban, we consider Taliban as extremists. My goodness, we have not seen these Uzbeks. Taliban are absolutely moderates compared to them, because Taliban and other religious groups in that area do not take Pakistan as a hostile state. They have differences with the policies of the government, yes. And again, one thing you must keep in mind is that these religious groups accept the ideology of Pakistan in toto. Ideology of a Pakistan being an Islamic Republic state.
Right. This will take us to a question which I would like to raise in a short while. But
so these were the basic groups.
I want to also come to an incident that took place in Quetta just a few days back. Almost 9 of our soldiers were attacked in Quetta. That was, I think, that was a marked shift in the attack. I think the so-called Balochistan Liberation Army took responsibility for that.
Now I have to take you at a macro level. You need to understand how many types of terrorism there are in Pakistan. Number 1 is religious. Number 2 is subnationalist, separatist, ethnic groups. And number 3 is random terrorism sponsored by Indians or Afghan assets, foreign intelligence agencies, and foreign assets. Now, what happens is, within the religious groups, there are 2 categories. One is the political religious groups, and the other are the sectarian. The sectarian terrorists are loners. They are not approved and accepted in mainstream society. No religious or political religious group accepts them, and they are isolated lots. The subnationalist militant groups, like those who want to dismember Pakistan, those who do not accept the ideology of Pakistan, they do not accept the government of Pakistan, they those who do not accept the state of Pakistan, and want to dismember Pakistan into smaller subnationalist states like Pakhtunistan, Azad Balochistan, or Free Liberated Balochistan, or Jinapur, or Sindhu Desh. These are the subnationalist militant groups here, which get direct support from foreign countries, who, like Balochistan Liberation Army, as you said, is based in Afghanistan.
How do you explain that this phenomena of these subnationalist groups suddenly coming up on the, I mean, we've been hearing about them, of course, for the past 40, 50 years, but they never had sort of that kind of media presence. I don't see them physically anywhere really, but the media presence has increased, and it seems to me that they have now tremendous financial support coming in from outside.
You see, history is going to be our guide here. In 1971, Pakistan lost half of its country, and the Pakistan was destroyed not by the religious extremists, but by a subnationalist militant group, Mukti Bahani. Those were the Bengali subnationalists who sided with the Indians. Indian army gave them weapons, equipment, support, financial aid, media coverage, and then the religious groups in East Pakistan sided with the Pakistani government, sided with the Pakistan army, and fought alongside against these subnationalist militant groups. You see, so exact same pattern is now being repeated here.
Who's interested in repeating this?
Now, the Karzai government in Afghanistan gives access to the Indian foreign policy to operate from that area now. The subnationalist groups in Pashtun subnationalists and the Baluchi subnationalists particularly now are getting direct support from Afghanistan. Not Afghans. Afghans are acting as conduits. Afghans are acting as agents. The Indians are primarily using this opportunity that they have clout with the Karzai government to penetrate into Pakistani areas. Now, you must note one thing very interestingly, Ahmed, that Balochistan Liberation Army is also being used in Iran. Now, this brings us to a very complicated situation.
How do you know it's being used in Iran?
Now, very interestingly, a couple of weeks back, what we, in Jerusalem Post, in an Israeli newspaper, we see a news which says Jundullah, a Baluchi group based in Pakistan, is waging war inside Iran, and it is based in Waziristan. Now, that's ridiculous. Waziristan is hundreds of miles away from Iran border. Jundullah, if it's a Baluch group, it cannot be in Waziristan, which is absolutely Pashtun areas. No Baluch group is in Pashtun areas.
And if there was a group, everybody would know about it.
And everybody would know about it. So, you see, what is happening is there's a deliberate misinformation campaign is also going on, trying to create misunderstanding between Pakistan and Iran. And the Baloch, if you look at the websites and the material of the Baloch Liberation Army, they very categorically say that Greater Balochistan will take parts of Iranian Balochistan and part of Pakistani Balochistan, and they are based in Afghanistan, and they are declaring a war on Iran and Pakistan both, not on Afghanistan. Reason? They are based there. So the signals that you get, the signatures that you get, the information that you get is very clear, which suggests them being based in Afghanistan, they are being used in Iran as well as in Pakistan. And the incident of Quetta that you're talking about is Balochistan Liberation Army attacking the Pakistan army assets. Now,
so does this indicate a shift in their operations and in the thinking of the people who are backing this group?
You see, this is precisely the point. You see, Akbar Bukhti was the ideologue behind BLA. Once Akbar Bukhti died, BLA was decapitated. They had fighters, Balaj Mari and Bramdad Bukhti, his grandson, but they did not have philosophical ideologues, the people who could replace them. He was a man of stature. Now, for last couple of months, or at least last 6 months or so, the BLA had totally gone underground. I mean, they were not blowing up electrical towers, they're not blowing up gas pipelines. The number had gone down tremendously. And they had to come back with a bang because whoever is supporting them definitely wants results on ground. And what could be the best way to make a bang? By killing 9 Pakistan army soldiers in Quetta. See, and that's the statement. See, but the fact is that they are disorganized, their supply lines have been broken down. And interestingly, UK declares BLA as a terrorist outfit and still protects so many of its people in London. And now Pakistan government is making demands to British government to hand over the BLA terrorist back to Pakistan. And interestingly, Americans do not declare BLA as a terrorist outfit. Why, I ask? See, the question is, if Pakistan is an ally to them in war on terror, why is America not declaring a terrorist outfit against the ideology of Pakistan, against the state of Pakistan?